One of the big differences between a pure online course and a face-to-face / blended course is that your students are entirely dependent upon your Canvas site in order to get started and to proceed through the course. If you create an organization that is confusing for students, you will find that you have a very major challenge in getting students to do what you want. And the more complicated your course, the more complicated the challenge. So in this particular segment, what we're going to look at is creating the menu that the students see. And the specific topics that we will look at are the menu settings, how to create a test student so that you can observe what your student is actually seeing, and the importance of creating a checklist to have your course ready to go for the students so that students, particularly during that first week, know exactly what it is that they need to accomplish. What I'm going to do here is go to Settings, and I've already got navigation selected. Now, navigation from the student's perspective should be as simple as possible. If you look at the way the navigation menu is structured, it provides direct access to many of the different content types: assignments, discussions, pages, files, quizzes, and so forth. What I strongly recommend is that we take those direct access away from the students and leave everything in modules. That way, there's no confusion in the student's mind about where to go to find something. They always go to modules. In addition, there are going to be certain things that are only accessible to the faculty, like first day attendance, the photo roster, and other faculty specific items. You can leave those on the menu so that you can get at them easily. The students will not see them because that's an upper level administrative assignment in Canvas, and so you don't have to worry about that. So the first thing we'll do is we'll take some of these generic things off the menu, and it's easy to do. You just drag them down to this lower area. That doesn't delete them, it simply removes them from the menu. And we will have discussions in this course, we will have assignments in this course, but you'll get at them through the modules. You will not get at them through the menu. Let's see, quizzes, files, let's see, we're not going to use collaborations in this particular course, so I'll take them off. Pages. All right, I don't necessarily have everything set up properly, and we'll check that out shortly. Now, one thing we will need in this course is Blackboard Collaborate, and that is not a default item, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag that up here. And then we'll take a look and see if I'm going to move modules so it appears higher on the list. That's what people tend to be interested in. You probably want to have the syllabus up there as well. Outcomes, again, that's instructor oriented, so it's not actually critical that it be on the list, but we can actually leave it there. We'll see that the students don't see it. All right, I think that's a good starting point for our menu. So now we want to see the menu from the student's perspective, but before you do, it's really important, and I always forget to do this, which means I get to redo the process multiple times, but you want to make sure after you've done all the dragging and dropping to get the menu the way you want them, that you save it. If you do not save it, then it will not be saved. Now, over here, we're seeing the faculty view, and you'll notice the faculty view actually has a number of things that I already dragged off the menu. If I want to see from the student's perspective, what I do is I click on Student View. And once I get to Student View, what I'm actually seeing is what the student will see. Notice how much simpler the menu is. Home, syllabus, modules, grades, people, collaborate, and conferences. Conferences will be the big blue button. Uh, Now, when you go into student view, what happens is it creates a new student called test student. So if I were to go into the grade book, I would see now we've got one student enrolled in this course called test student. I can submit assignments as test students. I can do all sorts of things to verify that my course is working reasonably well from the student's perspective. Um, when I want to get back to the instructor, I can go leave student view. If I click on reset student, what will happen is it will clear out everything associated with that test student so that you can run more tests or you can get rid of the student. One slightly confusing thing about a test student is it is really considered like a real student. And what that means is that when your grade book comes down, you're going to suddenly find you've got an extra student in your grade book who appears alphabetically in your list as test student. So it's not necessarily the top or the bottom, it's somewhere on the list. But the test student is very useful, and we'll also find it's useful for some of the other things that we talk about. For example, when you want to do a plagiarism check with Turnitin, you can actually do that as a test student since they don't give you a direct way to submit as a faculty member. So what I will do now is I will leave the student view, and then I will return to course settings. And now we're back. So the final step in creating your course shell is actually to publish the course. Now, if you're doing normal classes at USF, the publication process is going to be automatic after a certain point. You won't have to be involved in it. However, sometimes if you're teaching classes that operate in different calendar schedules, like the Executive MBA or the Doctor of Business Administration program, if you don't publish, your students may not be able to see it. So that's something to be aware of. There are probably lots of ways of publishing the course. The easiest I find is to go to Home, bring up that course setup checklist, which was the first thing that we saw once again when we created the new shell. It's reminding me that I ought to add some course assignments. I could add events to the calendar. I could add TAs. But right now, I'm just going to go to publish the course. So I can just select that menu item, click on publish. And what will then happen is my course will be accessible to people who I have added to the course listing.